On today's video, I go through some of the gremlins that almost stopped me coming out on the trip today. I also find myself on some rather steep, icy and snowy ground. I'll nip through what clothes I'm wearing and layering system I'm using, and I also visit a very special summit on a special day. Oh. Right, it is 35 minutes past 10, 25 to 11 on a Saturday night, and I don't think I've procrastinated more about coming on a hike in a long time. I'll maybe go into that tomorrow, but I'm quite tired because I didn't leave till later on. And yeah, Saturday night, rock and roll. I've just made myself a cup of tea. I don't tend to drink when I'm in the van, unless I'm at a designated camp spot, 'cause I'm not quite sure what the legislation is. I've got a funny feeling you're not meant to, because if you get caught with the keys on you, even if you're in a stationary vehicle, you might get asked to move on. Oh God, I can't even speak. Do apologise. You might get asked to move on and all that sort of stuff. So rock and roll, Saturday night, cup of tea, no whiskey for me. Right, I'm going to report back in the morning, and yeah, I'll maybe go into a bit more detail of my change of plans. I mean, I don't even know if I'm still going to go where I'm on plan B already, put it that way. Right, see you in the morning, time for a cup of tea and then bed. So I'm going to get up early. Right, stop talking, Murray. Right, morning, it's, what time is it? 6:40. And the wind has been howling all night. This is going to be a type 2 adventure, I think. Type 2 fun anyway. So let's get going. I'm not going to video me having coffee, but I'm going to get dressed, coffee, and then just get cracked on, I think. And I'll report back on the trail. Right, let's go. Prizes for where I am. Hopefully you can see from my shoulder. One of the three sisters of Glencoe. And yeah, I've got to go in before 7, which is good. And this is plan B, as I said. I nearly never came. I'll maybe talk about the reasons, and I don't know if you suffer this as well. There were so many different things that were stopping me, in my brain anyway, and procrastinations. But anyway, I'm here now, and the original plan was to do a grade 1-2 gully climb on the other side of the mountain that I'm going up today. In fact, not far from where I did the summit camp in the snow at the start, well, in the middle of the winter. I'll probably put some footage up of that. That was amazing. Go and have a look at that video. I'll put that link in the description below. But anyway, I'm not going there for a number of reasons, which I'll come on to. And one of them is, it's not very cold. It's really windy. I'm in shelter here. But yeah, it's mild. The avalanche risk is low. I did check that, but I had a chat with Mark, one of my pals, and he'd been up here during the week and dug a few profiles and said there was a lot of instabilities in the snowpack. So that kind of, yeah, that confirmed that I wasn't going to go up that route. But anyway, more than that at the moment. Let's just crack on, and I'll bring you back when I'm on the other side of the river. Heading towards the Lost Valley to start off with. That's me heading into the gorge, heading up to the Lost Valley. And my plan B and route for today is hopefully at the moment, it's still not confirmed, but I'm hoping to go to the head of the Lost Valley and then up onto the col between Screamick and Bidean, those two mountains. Now that might not happen because if you've watched my videos, maybe one last year, that head wall can be, it's a bit like Tulloch round by the Buchel. It can be very steep, and if there's any instabilities in the snow, I'll not be going up it. But I'm kind of hoping it is the kind of walker's way up, and 9 times out of 10 it's fine. But sometimes, yeah, if you saw the video where I did a loop and came back down that way in the spring last year, it was proper front pointing at the top. So I'm hoping to go up that way. It might not happen, we'll see, and then up onto Bidean, and then round to Stobcorn and Lochan. And depending, the other thing is the forecast, as I'll come on to, Forecast winds are quite gusty in the top, 40 to 50 mile an hour gusts. So again, that'll be dependent on whether I can get up there and stay safe. But there's a few different routes I can come down. One might be down Broad Gully, another might just be around the rim of the quarry. So let's see. It could all change. I've got lots of other plans in the bag, but that's the plan. But as I said, it nearly never happened. I'll come on to that in a wee while. Why my brain was telling me not to come. Right, report back in a wee while. It's nice and sheltered here, and that is to do with the wind direction. And that was one of the reasons that I was procrastinating and making excuses for not to come, is that the weather isn't ideal. The cloud base is down, it's going to be really windy, maybe some rain later on. But you know what, it's Scotland. I had to keep telling myself, if I said that every time I wanted to go out and decided not to because of the weather, I'd never ever get out in Scotland. So yeah, that's the first of many reasons, which I'll go through on to the next ones in a wee while. But I'm almost at the wee river crossing, which can be problematic. The river's in spate, but today it's really low. The pools are so clear, so lovely. So there's some nice stepping stones here. The last time I was here was with my son, and the water was a lot higher, probably about a metre higher. And yeah, it made the crossing a bit more tricky, but yeah, nice and low today. So let's crack on, and I'll bring you back up at the Lost Valley. I wonder how many hundreds of thousands of boots have been on those stepping stones. There we go, there's a view to behold. I'll spin you around and show you what I can see. Oh, right, I've crested the rim, and behind me is the most popular camp spot in Scotland. This is the Lost Valley, and I suppose it is perfect for a camp. You've got flat grass, water, very sheltered, but just don't expect the wilderness lonely. And you're not far from the road either. You have to climb about 200 metres of ascent, so not that easy, but it's not like summit camping. Beautiful, beautiful spot though, but just don't expect to be by yourself if you come up here. I've already met about 4 or 5 parties heading back down the way. Anyway, it's lovely. One of the reasons I came this way was to get the shelter from these gales on the tops. So let's crack on a bit, and I'll report back when I'm heading out of the Lost Valley and up into the winter. So I'm on the flat part, almost the prairie of the Lost Valley, and it is a wonderful place. It's surrounded by these big, massive, steep sided cliffs on every side. It's absolutely, you can understand why so many people come up here. There'll be busloads of people come up here. It's probably one of the most popular spots in Glencoe, and of course it's got the history behind it where they brought their cattle up. But I've always said it's hard enough to scramble up here without bringing a herd of cattle with you. But anyway, I'll show you where I'm going at the head of the valley. Let me spin you around. There we go. So up at the top there, you can probably see the lights. Well, you might not be able to make out, but yeah, it is winter up there, so I'm glad I've got the crampons and ice axes. So we'll see how we go. And yeah, I'll report back in a wee while. There's a wee bit of a boulder field to negotiate now, so better watch where I'm putting my feet. Speaking a bit. Oh right, it's getting a wee bit chilly now as I'm gaining height. What height am I at? Just under 500 metres, so I'm just going to put an extra layer on here and yeah, talk about my second procrastination and reason for not coming, and that was guilt. I think I've spoken about this before. Guilt of leaving the family. I mean, my wife is away today. She's away on a girls' night away, so she'll be gone from about midday. My son's working, as is my daughter, so I would have been sat at home by myself from about midday anyway, but I still have that pang of guilt about leaving. And then there was the whole thing about whether I leave this morning or last night, and I chose to come last night again. My other half had been working and she had a headache, so she went straight to her bed. My son was working and needed picked up at 7, so I picked him up, made tea, and then came on my way. So even though I'm justifying this, I don't know, I still have these pangs of guilt about leaving the family. Let me know if you have the same. Any extra layer on the snout. Just checking. I do. I thought I'd forgotten my food, but I haven't. I've got a couple of Scotch eggs in there, surprise, surprise. Just nice, easy food to have. Right, let's get this show on the road. Use this. Having got my extra layer on, I popped the backpack back on and it was time to head higher up the mountain. There were a few burn crossings to negotiate, but luckily they weren't icy, but the temperature was dropping as I got higher up the glen, and I soon reached the small patches of snow. Things were starting to get a bit cooler, windier, and probably better for the snowpack at this point. I was really looking forward to this steep pull up the head wall. I'm a bit apprehensive. That's me. Get a good view now up into the steeper part. There are some big cornices up there though, but the snow's good. The temperature's a lot colder now that I'm a bit higher up, so I'm going to stop and get my crampons on and my gear on here. Yeah, get my poles out, poles away, get my axes. I'm going to put my helmet on as well. I do have all the gear for climbing, so I'm going to use it. No point in having it. Put my hard shell on. The other thing which was stopping me, or in the back of my mind, the wee gremlin on my shoulder telling me not to come, was the what if factor. What if something happens? What if you're by yourself, you slip? And that's always the case when I come out myself in the Scottish Highlands, whether it's winter, spring, autumn, whatever season. And again, it's similar to what I was talking about with the weather. I wouldn't get in the car to drive to work if I thought about all these things that could go wrong, because there's so many risks out there and you just wouldn't be able to live your life if you just worried about them the whole time. And the chances of something serious happening to me, it's more likely that I could have a serious injury in a car crash than heading up here for sure. So I just need to, I'm going to mitigate the risk. I'm going to check it out, check the snow before I commit, and I'll report back in a wee while. As I mentioned, the forecast was for quite strong winds, and I was expecting these when I got to the top, so I got all my layers on here, including my hard shell and my hat and my goggles, so I was fully prepared for what lay ahead. Even a bit of blue sky up there now. It's clearing a wee bit. Yeah, let's go. Let's have some fun. So all geared up, I started to head up the snow, and the snow was really good actually, very well consolidated, just the sort of snow you want to stick your ice axe and your crampons into. Very well consolidated and nice and sticky and cold. I was looking forward to this, it was looking great. Right, see down behind me, it's the snow slope, nice grade 1 slope, which is lovely. And if I spin you around this way, you can see up to where I'm going up here, but there's actually a wee runnel ahead of me here which might take me out of this sort of fall zone just in here. Up here there is some evidence of old avalanche debris. The cornices have come down, so I might head up this wee runnel which looks a wee bit out of the way, so I'll have a look at that and bring you back when I get to the top. Woo! Great fun though, the snow's brilliant. The snow's really well consolidated and just really nice. So yeah, I'm going to see this wee gully and see where it goes. So I headed off a bit to the right to have a look into this gully, and the ground got a little bit steeper as I headed out of the main sort of basin. But I wanted to go and have a look and see what it was like. So up I headed, just off to the right. As I said, I had to just be careful because the ground got a bit steeper. But as I looked into the gully, it didn't seem as appealing as it did a bit lower down. It seemed to steepen up quite a bit, and there was a bigger cornice at the top of that than there was in the main part of the basin. So I down climbed back into the the normal route up and then headed up towards the top along some easier ground. The snow continued to be good as I headed higher up, and as is nearly always the case with such snow slopes and gullies, they do steepen and can steepen quite considerably towards the summit. Now this is usually the walker's route up and the walker's route down, and as I mentioned, it's a bit similar to the Big Buchel, and you know, when there's some old spring snow that remains in the Corrie headwall, it can be properly steep. As you can see here, it's certainly not a place to slip or fall. I think it is a bit of a accident black spot, but yeah, up I headed, and I soon reached the top, and I headed over where there'd been some footprints below, and they'd obviously broke through the cornice prior to me getting there, and the snow was really quite nice. There was none of that. There wasn't too much of that powdery horrible stuff. It was all fairly nice, and taking the axe as well. So up and over I went, and this is the bit where you have to be most careful. It's certainly not over here, so I was glad once I got up. Look at that knee, you see that? No knees allowed. Anyway, up and over, and I was at the Bialach. Oh, well, that was sporting. What fun! As expected, it steepened up nicely towards the top, and there was a bit of a cornice to get over, but yeah, the snow's all very stable, which is good. It's freezing up here. All the rocks are lined up, so it's well below freezing. So yeah, I'm just going to get a quick bite to eat here, and then I'm actually going to head for the top of Bidean nan Bian. And you never know, it might clear. The snow was showing signs of the cloud even, signs of coming and going, but yeah, brilliant. Right, let's go up to the top. Well, let's stop and get something to eat first. I don't know if you can see that, but that's the top of the cornice. I came out just down here. It's pretty steep. I'm not going to get too close for obvious reasons. Don't know if you can make that out. But yeah, it's that's the hardest part of the day. That's the what if section. The what if, and I feel exhilarated. Feels absolutely brilliant. So yeah, let's go a bit further on and report back at the top. At this point, the forecast winds weren't nearly as bad as I thought they were going to be, but I was probably sheltered a bit by Screamach, the Munro to the east. It was probably providing a wee bit of shelter. It was pretty gusty here and there, but yeah, as I said, nothing as bad as what I was about to encounter heading over to the second top. But I still had to get to the highest point of Argyll and my first summit first, and that's the mountain called Bidean nan Bian. So here we are, the summit of Bidean nan Bian, and it's not as windy as I thought it'd be. It's not pleasant, don't get me wrong. My navigation's going to have to be spot on coming off here, but yeah, nice, fantastic to get here. I'm going to head down and up to Stobcorn Lochen, and at the top of that one I might give you a breakdown of what I'm wearing. I thought it might be quite useful for you. And the other thing I'd say is, well into spring now, even if it's a beautiful day, just remember, still winter in the mountains and you need your crampons and ice axes, especially if you're going to be heading down the Lost Valley. I needed 2 of these to come up it, so yeah, I'll report back later on. And one other thing that I was going to talk about me not, my brain telling me not to come was, last night I was thinking I just couldn't be bothered coming the drive, you know, it's just under 2 hours to get there, and it would have been so much more comfy just to sit at home and have a beer. But I knew I would regret it had I not come up here, and I'm glad that I've done it and come up. So let's head on to the next peak. I need to keep my wits about me coming off here because it's quite a steep drop off coming off Bidean, so let's go. The ridge over to Stobcorn Lochen does run sort of north to south generally, so I knew that the easterly gale would be pretty ferocious here. There was no shelter, and that certainly proved to be the case. Anyway, it's quite steep ground and care is definitely required on the descent. Right, as we reach the col between Bidean nan Bian and Stobcorn Lochen, so I'm heading up the way now. There. Not much to see, but it's lovely. As I said at the top, I'm so glad that I've come out. It's proper winter mountaineering today, and I've not done enough of that this year. I'm kind of glad I didn't do the gully. There was big soft cornices at the top of my plan A route, just back there, so thanks Mark for the heads up on that one. So yeah, let's go to the top of this special peak. I'll explain why, especially today, why this peak means so much to me and why I was keen to come here just to visit, pay homage on today Baldy. So, oh that wind, I'll bring you back at the top of Stobcorn Loch. You can't really tell it here, but it was blowing a hoolie. This was where the winds were worst by far, heading up to the top of Stobcorn Loch, and it's a special summit for me, as some of you might know, and especially today as it was Mother's Day, as I'll explain in a wee while. But anyway, I was struggling to keep my feet at this point. I was glad when I got to the summit. Hey, summit of Stobcorn Loch in here. Oh, it's super windy. It's not too bad here, but coming up it was knocking me off my feet. I don't know if you, hopefully you can hear this, but this is Mothering Sunday today in the UK. It's Mother's Day, and those of you that have watched the channel for a while will know this is a special place. There'll be a video in the description below to explain it if you want to go and find that out. But yeah, I'm going to drop off, hopefully get some shelter down on the west side here, and I'll explain my layering system. Ooh, I don't get blown off the hill. Right, let's go. Oh, that wind is biting. Yeehaw. Right. Whew. Now this is me at the top of the Rock Gully, just down there. Hopefully you can hear me. There's a gale coming up. It's probably windier here. It's funneling the wind. So I think I'm going to head round the rim of the quarry and back round that way. Quick breakdown of what I'm wearing. I've got step 1 boxer shorts on, I've got merino wool leggings on, I've got thick Kilo socks on, my Seamond over trousers, which are excellent. I've got a thin base layer on, a tight fitting base layer, my Mammut orange and blue hooded mid layer I suppose. I've got a gilet on top of that. I've then got my mountain equipment kinesis on, and then this Jotner hard shell. I've got a rab skull cap thing on under the helmet. I've also got a Jotner beanie, which I'll put on when I take this helmet off. I've got these ski goggles, and I've got these excellent sailing gloves. These are made by Lowo. They're actually designed for sailing, but they've been so good for this sort of stuff. I can get a bit of dexterity, hands haven't been cold, excellent. And I've got my winter boots on, 4-season boots, and my crampons. So yeah, and lots of spares in the bag, survival bag, spare jacket, spare gloves, spare hat. Right, it's too windy to go on. Let's get round here a bit. When it drops, I will report back to you. With the wind whistling up Rod Gully, I opted to head round the rim of the quarry and just head down that way, and before long I was back in the basin of Stobcorn Loch. Wasn't much in the way of views though, to be honest with you. So I just plodded on, and by this point there was a nice set of footprints to follow as I headed down towards Glencoe and back towards the van. Right, that's me. I've moved on a bit. There was a few folk about, as there always is here. It's now 12:30. A wee bit of rain in there, so I might have timed that just perfectly. It's one of the reasons I left early. But anyway, we're going to bring you back at the bus. At the bus? I wish it was a bus. I'll bring you back at the van. Breaking news. My daughter had picked me up a couple of Scotch eggs. I've got one left. I had one on the, he's just after I topped out at the head of the Lost Valley. And they're from Morrison's, and hate to say it, but those Morrison Scotch eggs are pretty, not very good. No, they're not on the par with Tesco's. Other brands are available. So yeah, I'm going to head back to the van. I've actually got an egg sandwich and some crisps but I'm looking forward to a cup of coffee when I get there. So I'll have that, and the next time you shall see me, we'll be in a nice cosy camper van. Right, whew, still a bit to go though. You can just see them, the van right at the bottom of the picture there. Right back at the bus, and I've got me a cup of tea, which is lovely. It's always nice coming back. Did I say back at the bus again? Back in the van. Did I say bus? I meant to say van, my God. Anyway, back at the van. And yeah, it's been great today. I know that I talked a lot about procrastinating, and this might not have happened. I was literally 50-50 last night. I was going to go and open a beer and just sit and watch the telly. But I know I would have regretted that today. And although the weather wasn't great today, I've timed it just right. The rain's now started, but it was dry all the way around. So yeah, sometimes just go, just do it. If you're procrastinating about it, just put those other thoughts, that wee devil on your shoulders, flick it off, listen to the angel. And talking of angels, yeah, I'm glad that I visited Stop Walking today, as some of you will know it's a special peak. Anyway, as I said, watch the video down below if you want to know why. If you don't want to know why, don't watch the video. Anyway, cheers. Thanks for watching if you've made it this far, and yeah, I'll see you next week. Stay safe out there. Again, talking of safety, well into the spring, that head wall can be, it's proper mountaineering. That head wall was steeper than Broad Gully, which is a graded climb. Graded 1, albeit, today, so just be wary of that. And the last time I went up there, somebody had fallen the day just before I'd come down actually, because they messaged me. So anyway, safety message over. Safety bulletin has been concluded. Thanks for watching. See you next week for another adventure. We'll wait to actually have a coffee on top of this tea now, so see you next week.